Yes. So we are discussing about the SAP client copies, right? SAP client copies we are discussing. As part of this client administration, we have discussed about how to create the client, what is the logical system, why we have to assign the logical system to the client. Then we entered into the client copies topic, client copy, local client copy, remote client copies. So we are discussing about the local client copy. For the local client copy, so what is the local client copy? Local client copy means locally performing the data copy from one client to another client, which means within the system only. Suppose I have two more systems are there. So two more systems are there here. I have the two systems are there. Then in this case, which method I have to use it here? You need to use the remote client copy. Remote client copy is here. You have the one system here. You have the one more system here. There is a one client here. There is a one more client here. You want to transfer the data from one client to another client is called the remote client copy. That is called the remote client copy. We have to perform it here, right? So this is the source, this is the target. The source and target client copies we have to perform it here. Source and the target client copy. Source is the this one. The target is the this one here. Target is the so this one here. So source to target, we will perform the so client copy here, right?
Quick question. Uh,
So which means so
Hello?
hello.
Yeah, I just have a question on the remote client copy. So the source can be like test or dev, and the target can be production or quality,
Target is
something
not the
like that.
production. Anywhere target should not be the production. We should not
Okay.
copy any data to the production.
Yeah,
So
yeah, but vice versa, you can do it, but
yeah,
not
vice
the.
versa. But we can pull the data from the production.
Okay, okay. So I
Source
mean, it
should
could
be
be quality
production.
basically.
Yeah. Why? Because we should not give anything to the target. Target is the business system, right? Production is the business
Yes.
system. So we should not do anything. So, but we can pull the data. We can pull the data from production to different systems. As part of the testing purpose, sometimes we may have to, normally we do the data. So refresh, DB refresh activities, we may perform it. But as part of this one, sometimes we may have to copy the data from source to target here. In that case, we can use the remote client copy here. So suppose one client to another client, which means between two systems, between two clients, we can transfer the data. We can transfer the data here. Sir, within the system, that is fine. Within the system, we can transfer the one client to another client, but this is a between two systems, right? Between two
Right.
systems, then how can we transfer the data? So how can we transfer the data here, right? So in between, first of all, between two systems means, so there is a, suppose from my mobile to your mobile, if I want to transfer the any data, there is a Bluetooth connectivity, I have to establish it, then I can transfer the data, right? Bluetooth connectivity is
Right.
required. So connectivity should be established here. Connectivity, we have to do the establishment here. But here, but what is required here in the SAP side here? Same way, SAP side also, we need to do the connection establishment. We have to do that one. The connection establishment we have to perform. That concept is called the RFC administration part. So which means before you do the remote client copy, we need to do the remote connections. Remote connection here, right? So remote function call. Remotely we can do the connection in SM59 transaction code. First of all, the remote connectivity we have to establish from the source to target. So then we can pull the data from the source to target system. We can pull it out here. That is what we have to do it. Suppose if you want to travel from one city to another city, then what you required? You need a so road connectivity or air connectivity or water connectivity is required to travel, right? Same way
Right.
here, we want to travel from one system to another system, means one system data to another system data. Definitely the connectivity is required. Without that connectivity, you cannot transfer any data. So to perform the remote client copy, the first of all, RFC connection should be established here. So there the RFC connections we have to perform it in the systems here. If we go to the system, so if we go to the system, any one of the system here, right? So then here you need to transfer the data here, right? In that case, you can go to the SM59 is the transaction code. Then you can establish the connectivity to the your ECD system, right? This is the NW1 system. You need the data from ECD. Then you need to establish the connectivity. Sir, there are the types of connections are there. What is this types of connections here? So in the RFC connection, we have the so there are the types of connections are there in the SAP here. One is the ABAP connection, which means ABAP to ABAP, SAP to SAP. Then second one is the ABAP to external connections, external means non-SAP connections. ABAP to TCP IP connections here. Then ABAP to TCP drivers connection here. So ABAP to internal connections here. So some internal connections, they will use the internal connections. HTTP connection above to sites, some HTTP sites or HTTPS sites, you can also transfer the data. So there are the types of connections are there in the RFC connections here. Means you can just not only client copy purpose, you can create the RFC connection. Suppose if you want to transfer the data from one server to another server, then it will use the remote function RFC connections here, right? If you want to transfer the data to your bankers, banking sites, then you need to establish the connectivity to your banking sites. That time you can use the HTTP connection to the external servers. If you want to use the some third-party servers, non-SAP, then you can use the TCP IP connections. These are the some internal connections. So if you want to transfer the other ABAP systems, then you can use the ABAP connections. So this is there are the types of connections are there here. But client copy, we can only do the source and both are related to the SAP system only we can perform the client copy. So SAP to SAP. Then in this case, we can use the ABAP connection. Just click on the create the connection here. What is the RFC destination name here? Which system you are creating? Then ECD system you are creating here. ECD. Suppose like you are creating the ECD system to the 100 client you are creating here, right? So then just you can provide the destination name, anything you can provide it here. What is the ECD destination? That is the KP Online 1 host name where the ECD is hosted. Then what is the instance number of the ECD here, right? Instance number of the ECD here. So instance number of the ECD means we can check in the here we can check the details here. Here we can check the all the details here. If we go to the here, what is the instance number? 02 is the instance number, right? Only host name and target system. You are connecting to the target, right? Then those details you need to provide it. Then so in the technical settings, you need to provide the host name and instance number. We have to provide it. Then go to the logon security. Then connectivity side, okay. But what about the which user will go and place it here, which client? Suppose like 100 client. So then what is the user in the 100 client? Then so what is the user to place the files, to place the data? So then there should be user ID and password, and that we have to maintain here. User ID, password, we have to maintain it here. Once the connection is created here, just click on the connection test. It should give the results here, right? Then also you can also check the authorization test. Once the connection is created, you see here there is a connection you created here, right? This is the connection you created in the system here. So if you do the connection test here, this will perform the so connection test is working now here, right? So which means something is correct here. Suppose if you have not provided correct details here, suppose like you have not provided correct details here, what will happen here? Now you see the connection test will fail because of the target system is unknown, target system is not connecting. So something like that, some issues. So your connection test will be failed status here. Then you will get so this kind of things you will get it out here, right? You will get this kind of things here. So you need to provide the proper details which are there in the source here. Then click on the connection test. You can able to do you will able to get the successful results here. how many seconds, milliseconds you got the results from the source. Like that you will get the all the information here. You will get the all the information here. So this is the way we can transfer the data. So we can see there are a lot of connections we can create it. Also, suppose if you want to create the connection to the your Google website, suppose Google is required some data, so then you require the data to the connected to the Google website. Description you can give anything, right? So Google means www dot, so google.com, right? Google.com. So their service number is the 80 is common HTTP. So then click on the connection test. So then click on the connection test here, then you will get the 200 OK. Then connection test is OK here. Then if you go to the response body, then you will get the Google site is opened here. Google site is opened here. So which means you are able to connect to the Google system, Google here. You're able to connect to the Google here, right? So then you can do whatever you want. You can do it from the here, right? So then means you can perform the configuration. Then you can do the some changes. You can do the so whatever. So if you want to do the some changes, if you want to do the we want to you want to send the some data, whatever you want, you can send the data to the your Google servers here, right? Google. So maps, images, whatever you want, you can do the changes here. You can do the some changes. You can do that one here, right? So everything you can browse it from here. So that's from SAP side. You can send it. Not only just checking, send it. You can also send the data to the your Google server here, right? That is also possible here, right? So that is the HTTP connection. So then internal connection, some internal connections. So logical connections, TCP/IP, program ID, third party, documentation, Oracle. If any connections are there, those TCP/IP connections we can establish it here. So the majorly used connections are TCP here, above connections and HTTP to HTTP connections here. HTTP connections we will use it here, right? So as per this is the RFC administration part. RFC administration. As part of the RFC administration, we will create the some connections to the target systems using the SM59 transaction code. In SM59, we have to create the connectivities either above to above, above to above, so above to non-above. So those connectivity we have to establish it. Why this is required here? To perform the remote client copy, RFC connection is the mandatory. RFC connection is the mandatory. We have to provide it here. That's why. So we are doing the RFC connection part we are doing here, right? Then what we can do here, we can go to the, so suppose you created the one connection, right? You created the connection in SM59 transaction code here, right? One connection you created like, so ECD 100 client you created here, which means you need to pull the some data from the ECD 100 client here. So then go to the remote client copy, local client copy. What is the transaction code? SCCL. For the remote client copy, the transaction code is like a SCC9 is the transaction code. SCC9 is the transaction code to perform the remote client copy, right? Remote client copy here. So just to go to the SCC9. So here you need to define the, so what profile you want to pull the from the source. Then, so what is the RFC destination? What is the RFC destination? So here you need to provide the RFC destination mandatory, right? Why? Because it's a remote client copy. Remotely you are performing the client copy here. So definitely we have to use the RFC destination. So without creating the connection, if you directly come to here, then again you need to go back and you need to create the RFC connection in SM59 transaction code, right? Then create the connection here, then schedule as a background job here, schedule as a background job, then click on the OK, same as like a local. Then connective, the logs we can see it in the SCC3, then we can see it is processing, the means remote client copy, which is it is pulling the data from the ECD 100 client to where? To NW1001 client. Oh, I think 001. So, right, NW1001 client, it is copying the data, right? So, it is processing. See, already 55, 56 files copied. So, which means you can see the some data, some transactions, some records in the ECD system as well here, right? So some connection, some user logged in. So users logged in list, you can see the some data. So see here, it is a remote connection. I think it is done. It is done. So data copied from the ECD to here. The user's data copied from the ECD to the NW1 system, the data copied, that is called the remote client copy. Remotely, we can perform the data copy using the this transaction codes here, remote client copy here, right? So there is a job. So definitely there is a job in SM37. So remote client copy with RFC destination and the local client copy also there is a RFC destinations are there here, right? RFC destinations are there here, right? That is called the remote client copy. Means remotely we can perform the client copy using the RFC destinations, not only within the system, within the client. So, but the other system also you can use it to perform the remote client copy. Means remotely between two systems, between two clients, so we can transfer the data from system is source system is like any, target system is like any, but so make sure target system should not be the production system here. Why? Because normally we will pull the data from the production to other systems, but if you're pushing the data to production, so from source, then that will be the dangerous. Why? Because all the data will be wiped out production, then that will be a business loss. So that is the case here. So that is the case here. So production, you should not push any data, push and pull mechanisms here, right? So this is the remote client copy using the SCC9 transaction code. We will perform the remote client copy here, right?
Yeah.
The next.
Ravi, sorry to interrupt. Uh, could you do that one more time? Because that's a little bit confusing for me. Say, for example, if you're going from client 001 and you're pushing the data to, say, like client 400, how would you do that?
Okay, so this is the one system. This is the one system. Suppose let's take, so this is the uh, NW1 system. This is the ECD system. So this is the source. Now I reverse order. Source. Now this is the target. Okay, this is the target here. So I want, I want some data from NW1 to 2, means source is the NW1. I want some data from NW1 to 2 is the target is like a ECD system. Then what I will do, I will log into the ECD system. I will log into the ECD system here. Okay, let me log in. Okay, this is the ECD system. Then ECD system. Then I will, first of all, I will establish the connectivity ECD system. Then I will establish the connectivity to the NW1 client, NW1 system. Then connectivity. So then SM59, I will create the NW1. So client copy. So then what is the NW1 host name? Same KP online one, then 00. So what is the user you want to, which client data you want to connect it? So then you need to provide the, so data, maybe language, client, maybe 100 client again. So 100 client is there, yes, maybe 001, 001. So then what is the user? Maybe you can just maintain the DDIC, whatever the user you have, you can maintain.
So the client here is the target client. Is that correct?
Yeah,
The
this
zero,
is the target client. NW1001 client data. NW1001 client data. I'm copying to the ECD 100 client.
right, right. Okay, okay, okay. You're specifying basically where
Yeah,
you're
first,
going to grab the data from.
right. So
Okay.
RFC connection in SM59, I have established this RFC connection, which is pointing to the our NW1 and a client. So, okay. Then do the connection test. This is okay. So then do the authorization test also here, authorizations, whether that user is valid or not. See, user is not valid. If the user is not valid, then how can we push the data? How the which user will go and push the data? So user is not valid. So valid user you have to maintain, and so here then do the connection test here. Connection test is okay, but what about the authorization test? Now authorization test also fine here. So now it's done. So it's created, right? So now go to SCC9 remote client copy, then select the profile. Select the profile here. NW1 is CC. That is the one you created the connection. Via this connection, via this tunnel. So this is the tunnel. So this is the tunnel. Via this tunnel, which you established. This tunnel is you established from the pipe, maybe tunnel or pipe. You established the connectivity to the target source system here. Then you need to log into the target system. Why? Because our client copies are the pull mechanisms. Pulling. Pulling means if you need the data to here, then you need to log into the here. Then you need to pull the data water from the well, right? So tub, right? Then you need to pull mechanism. Then you need to log into the target system with the target client. Then establish the connectivity to the here. Then once they establish the connectivity to here, then provide the connectivity details. Provide the which data you want to transfer. Then schedule as a background job. Done. Job is created. We can see the logs in SCC3. So now you created the job. So then if you go to SCC3, your client copy is getting processing. Remote client copy is processing here. So, okay. So it's a remote client copy is processing. How many tables data copying? Tables data is getting copied here. So if you go to AL08, they are the connections to the your target. There is a background job here. There are the connections to the target system here. It is happening, right? So then you are pulling the data from NW1001 client to and NW1001 client to ECD 100 client. You are transferring the data. You are transferring the data here. So that's what here it is happening here in the system. So it will pull it via this tunnel. It will pull the data here. It will pull the data here. SCC3. If you go to here, then I think it's completed. You see, 103 tables, 103 tables are copied. It's completed. How much time? So it's maximum 1 minute. It's taken to complete it here, right? So data copied here. We can see the logs. We can see the logs. What tables are copied? What users data copied here? What users are copied here? So whatever the users are there in the source, all these users are got copied to the all these users are copied to source to target system it copied. But whether will we log in for these users? ECD 100 client we copied. Okay, able to log in. But this is also able to log in. So we copied the data. This is the local client, sorry, remote client copy. Okay. So this is the means one system data, client data, we can transfer to the here. Sometimes in the real time, we may get this type of situation from, so they have the one system, they need to copy the this client data to another system here. Then in this case, we have to establish the RFC connectivity. If not there, then we will use the SCC9 is the transaction code. We will pull the data from the source. Okay.
Yep, makes more sense. Thank you.
Yeah. So the next one is the export and import methods. Normally, this required the STMS concept should be completed, but however, so I will explain it. So the client export next method, next client copy method is the export and import, like SCC8 or and SCC7 is for the import here. So export and import. What is mean by export import method? So both are same. Remote client copy and export import methods are same. So, but the thing is here, there is a local file system here that is called the USR SAP, the trans directory operating system level. There is a trans directory So there is a local file system. This is the source system, SRC. This is the target system here. Okay. The both the intention of the remote client copy and remote client copy is transferring the data from here to here. Right? Transferring the data from direct transfer in the network direct transfer. That is called the SM59. So that is called the SM59. Using the connectivity, we can direct transfer the data here. Right? Using the SCC9 transaction code here. So export and import method. What is that? That is means exporting the data from source to the respective file systems, then importing to the from here to here we have to import it. But sir, both are same, right? Both the intention of the client copies is finally transferring the data to the target only. But why this two-way mechanism? Exporting, then we have to wait for the export using the SCC8. We have to wait. Then after that, you need to execute the SCC7. You have to execute it here, right? For the import. For the import, you have to execute. Export and import methods we have to execute it here. So why we have the two-way mechanism means sometimes what happens, this is one of the, this is also both are like a transferring the data to the remote system only, right? Transferring the data to the remote system only. This is like direct transfer. But sometimes what happens, the customer network bandwidth is not good. There is a more than 1 terabyte data is there. Then in that case, transferring the more than 1 terabyte data via network, it is a difficult. Why? Because they have to wait for longer time and there are 2 3 days it will take. 1 terabyte data transferring via the network means 2 3 days they need to wait to get the complete procedure to be complete, right? So ours is a small, that's why it's completing soon. But in the real time, the database sizes are terabytes. Then in that case, if the database size is more than 1 terabyte, they can go for the export and import approach. Why? Because first they will do the export to the here, from here to here, they will do the import, which means example. So this is the via Bluetooth mode. This is you are here, your friend is here. Via Bluetooth mode, you are transferring the data to your friend directly. Via network, you are transferring. No, 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 not via Bluetooth mode. It's not the secure, and also some customers will prefer like network is not bad, not good. So then you can do the file transfer, which means so you will insert the pen drive or some hard devices. Then you will load the data to the pen drive. From pen drive to again, you can upload the data to the target system here. Right? This is the two-way mechanism, but time-taking two-way mechanism, but secure one. Secure one means so via within your network only you are transferring the data to your file system, right? Off part is done here. Then one more off part you can do it from here. So in case of import got cancelled, you can pull from here. You don't need to wait for the source again. But here, source to target via continuously you are transferring. At 99% worst case scenario, it got failed. Then again, it will be impact on the source system resources. Again, it will feed the data from then it will process the data to the target here. Anyhow, client copy will resume the data where it got stopped. It will resume from that entry. But anyhow, there is some impact on the some performance impact on the source. Why? Because it has to go on the source and the source system data. It will be read it. Then it will be hand over to the target system. Right. So here this is the remote client copy, export, import, both intention is transport the data to the target. But how you are transporting, either the direct transport or export in import method. So for here, actually there is a TMS configuration is required, transport target group is required. Anyhow, that we will discuss in our further classes that we will come. So, but here I will show you. So here export, go to the SCC8 is the transaction code. Then select the target system here, target system, which system you want to do the export. So suppose ECD to NW1 system, then select the NW1 system, right? So there is a start immediately. It will create the some files at operating system level. It will create the some files here. like 54 cross client data, client specific data, client specific text. There the three files will be generated. So it is getting generated here. You can see it in the SEC3 transaction code. SEC3 transaction code. You can see the exports. So it is getting processing, exporting. Right? Already one of guy few hours back it got exported. See, it is getting exported. So which means it will create the some files at operating system level. At operating system level, that is in the OS level, the KP online one, where the directory in the trans directory, there is a in the co files and the data files. The detailed you will get it out. There is a so KTC 77. There is a data which it will be exported here. 54, right? It is exported. So you can do the exports here. The local file system. Local file system, you can do the exports here. So then after that, so we can do the imports. We can do the import same SCC7. We can do the imports here. Whatever the transport request you have exported, then that will come to the immediately SCC7, the 54 transport request. Then which user, which system, HCD system, then click on the import button. Then immediately, then that will be imported, right? So export and import method, simple. But only thing is two-way mechanisms you have to do that one. First you have to do the export, then you need to wait for some time. Once everything is exported, then you need to do the, so you need to log into the target system. You need to use the SCC7 is the transaction code. You have to use it. Okay. So, but there is a TMS configuration is required. Our next topic is the TMS configuration only. That time you can do the more practical you can perform. Now also you can perform it, not a problem. So you can go to the you can go to the SCC3, see whether it's completed, import yes, right? So then you can perform the SCC8 slash and SCC8. Then you can select the which system you want to import it. So, but systems, how the systems comes to the here means that is the mystery for you. How the systems will comes to here, target systems. Then STMS concept should be clear to you. Then only you will come to know this concept here. That is our next topic is the STMS. For now, you can normally just go to the SCC8, you can export it, SCC7, you can do the import options here. So overall, the client administration, what we discussed is, so SCC4 for the client creation, then sale or the BD54 for the logical system creation. So SCC3, SCCL, L means L means local client copy. Then SCC9, that is called the remote client copy. You need to remember the transaction codes. Then SCC8, AE8, E8, then that is called the export, client copy export. SCC7, I7, then import. Remember the last letters. Then you can simply understand the what is the import transaction code, I7 phone. So, right, E8, E8, A, B, C, D, A1, B2, C3, D4, right? So E8, E8, right? I7. Then if you cut the R horizontally or vertically, then it's like a 9, right? Local. Then, so client copy, progress logs and everything, client copy logs, you can see it in the SCC3, right? So that is the, so client copy transaction codes here we have discussed. And also one more thing, client copy related, SCC1, that is called the client transport. This is a separate transaction code, client transport here. So normally they will go to the SCC1 client transport here. Client transport here. So what is the source client? Which client you need to pick up the transport request, right? So that client, and what is the transport request number? So you can just pull the data, client transport here. So this is like a, normally developers will use most this one, not by we. developers will use this transaction code. So sometimes if they ask you as a basis team help, sir, I have 000 client, 001 client, we will not do anything here. Then we have the 100 client, we have the 200 client also we have created. 100 is the development client. So 200 is the unit testing client or some other client we created. Sir, we have the transport request we created. We have done some changes we have created in the 100 client. We want to transport the changes to the 100 to 200. So how can I do that one? Then in this case, you need to use the only not the client copy, only transport the whatever the data he created, you want to transfer only that data here. Using the SCC1, you can transport the data, right? So, but if you use the SCCL, or client copy, within the client copy SCCL, if you use it, whatever the data is there in the target, that will be removed. Whatever the data is there in the source, all the data will come to here. Every time removing the data, copying the data, all the data, that is not the best practice, right? So you copied the data, then the person is developed the one object here, only one object here. You need only this object to be moved to the here. Then in this case, you can use the SCC1 transaction code. You can use it. Then you can transport the data from 100 to 200 client. You can do that one, right? So this is the client copy related transaction codes here, right? Client transports, client copy, export, import. You need to mainly remember the transaction codes. Transaction codes are the very important here, right? If you know the transaction code, you can simply go to the SEC, and L means local, 9 means remote, then definitely RFC connection is required. So there is a one more prerequisite also doing the client copy, client space, how to check the space then. Why? Because here there is a 100 GB, then here there should be 100 GB also should be required, right? Source to target. Then how to check the space? Then there is a report in SA38 report where to execute SA38 or SE38. We will execute the report that is called the RS space check, RS space check or RS site check report. We can execute it. We can go to the SA38, then the space RS space check. Determine the tables. How much? So which? So the determine we can check the how much memory is required. All the information we can check it out here. So you can select the table name. So or if you don't select the table name, so just you can select the tables here. Click on the OK button, then it will give you the information how much memory size is required here. But because you are transferring the data from one to another place, right? So one system to another system you are transferring. But here you have the 1 TB data is there, but to determine the size of the data we can check it out, space check, size checks, we can check it out. But here also there should be enough space is required, right? I am transferring the one movie from my mobile to your mobile, my mobile to your mobile I am transferring. So in the mobile size is, volume of the size is like 1 TB. Then there should be a 1 TB free space is required, right? Otherwise how can I transfer the data? That there is a space issues, right? Then definitely you should check the space also. Then first of all, how can I know how much space we have, right? So we can find out using the SA38 RS space check, RS site check reports. We can use it, this report, we can use it. Then we can find out the per client, how much space we have, size we have. Then we can find out the all the information. Okay. So that is the client copies here, right? So yes, that's for the client copy, and we can practice it. Any questions, anyone?
Do you typically, when you're creating a client for the first time, do you have to have certain data that you need to pull for the first time?
Yeah. First step when you're copying the data, yeah, standard data or users, whatever the profile we use, right? So that you can pull it out. So whatever the client copy, maybe some people they will pull only user. So mandatory they will pull the data, customization data. This
Okay.
data they will pull from the other client to the new client, they will pull it out.
What is that for, by the way?
Custom means customization data, which are developed by our developers. So they want to do the testing that data. So that's why they will use the custom means customization.
Okay.
So one more thing here, they are the 20 users are onboarded into our SAP systems, ECD and W1 system. So as a basis consultant, we need to support for them, right? In the real time also similar way. So there are the 20 users yesterday they have onboarded into our environment. Means they will extensively use our systems, NW1 ECD systems. So it's if they detect any issues or anything, we need to keep an eye. So we can just monitoring the system performance, system behavior. So all those things we have to do that one. Why? Because they are from the different streams. So they are working on our systems. So if you do the wrong client copy, so what it will do, it will crash the entire data. Then entire the test data is gone. In the real time, you will be fired from the company if you do like that. So here, so that's why just to make a best practice, don't do it wrong client copies. Perform it clearly. Don't do it in the ECD 100 client and NW1 different clients. You have the other clients also available, right? So you can use other clients. There are the number of clients are there here. See, the lot of clients are there. You can use this other clients data to transfer. So basically, the users are there. So they will log in from maybe what is the time now? So it's 8. In the next 1 hour, 2 hours after onwards, Indian hours, they will log in. They will do the activities in the system. You can also do it. It's not like that you are restricted. You are also, you can do that one. But our duty is basis consultant. What is our primary responsibility? Systems are up and running fine. We should always check the systems are up and running and it is available in the SAP logon pads. Okay, it's available. So that is our primary responsibility. So now real users are logging to our data, our systems. So make sure. So you when you are in the system, just cross check once all the systems are up and running or not. That is our main thing. So in this way, in the real time also, similar situations will happen. Then that time you can act accordingly immediately, right? So that's why. So you can use it. So same if you follow it here in the real time also when you join the organization projects. So similar way users will log in. Sometimes they may face the performance issues. Then they will contact the basis team. Then we need to check what's happening in the system. So sometimes slowness, sometimes system is not available, maybe one of our person will be stopped status. So this type of issues we may face it. So we need to check what's happening in the dumps, above dumps, system dumps, what are the errors and everything. Okay. So I will update you if they detect any issues. I will get the request. So then immediately I will inform you guys. So you, when whoever available, just log into the system and see what's happening in the systems and everything. So in this way, why? Because real time also we will do the same. So you will get a best practice here as well. Okay. So we'll see tomorrow with the different topic, not the different topic, transport administration.